All right, let's talk about something that might sound, well, a little boring at first: federal accounting. But I promise you, this isn't just about spreadsheets and numbers. This is the real story of how our government tracks every single one of our tax dollars. It's a system designed to follow the people's money, and it's a process that's literally as old as the United States itself. And I'm not kidding about it being old. The entire system we're about to break down starts right here, baked directly into the US Constitution. This isn't some modern regulation somebody came up with. Nope. The founders themselves demanded that there be a public, regular accounting of all public money. And that right there is the key. This whole elaborate process, it's not just about filling out forms and paperwork. It is a constitutional duty. It's the foundation of transparency, and it's how we, the public, are supposed to be able to hold the government responsible for spending our money. So, because of this big constitutional rule, the government can't just, download QuickBooks and call it a day. It needs a completely specialized system, one that's built for a totally different purpose than just tracking profits and losses like a regular business. Which brings us to the trillion-dollar question, literally. How in the world do you keep track of trillions of dollars spread across countless agencies, all while sticking to that constitutional command? Well, the answer is a pretty fascinating dual system. The way to think about it is that the federal government is basically running two different sets of books at the exact same time. It's a two-part system, and each side of this ledger is tracking the money in a different way for a completely different reason. Okay, so this slide really gets to the heart of it. On one side, you've got budgetary accounting. Think of this as the permission to spend system. Its only job is to enforce the law, to make absolutely sure an agency doesn't spend a penny more than Congress said it could, and only for the reason Congress intended. Then on the other side, you have proprietary accounting. Now, this looks a lot more like what a typical company does. It's tracking what the government owns, what it owes, its overall financial health. So, to boil it all down, the budgetary side is all about making sure the government is following the law, following the budget. The proprietary side is about showing us the financial results of all that activity. One tracks the budget, the other tracks the books. Simple as that. All right, that's enough theory for now. Let's get practical. We're going to follow the actual life cycle of your tax dollars as they move through this system, from the moment Congress gives the green light to the moment that money is actually spent. But before we start that journey, we have to understand this one key term: appropriation. You can think of it as the starting gun for all government spending. It's a law passed by Congress and signed by the president that acts like a legal permission slip for an agency to spend money. Without an appropriation, not a single dollar can legally be touched. So step one is that appropriation. Let's say Congress appropriates $100 million to an agency for a new project. To make it relatable, this is like your boss telling you what your total salary will be for the entire year. The full amount you have to work with, but you don't get all that cash on day one. And that brings us to step two, apportionment. This is where the Office of Management and Budget, or the OMB, steps in. They take that big $100 million appropriation and split it into smaller chunks, usually releasing it quarter by quarter. This keeps an agency from blowing its whole budget in January. In our salary analogy, this is like your annual pay being divided up into monthly paychecks. Next up, step three, allotment. So now the money is inside the agency's leaders take their quarterly paycheck and they allot it or budget it out to different teams and projects. So if apportionment is your paycheck, allotment is you sitting down and deciding, okay, this much is going to rent, this much is for groceries, this much is for savings. Step four is obligation, and this one is absolutely critical. This is the moment an agency makes a legally binding promise to pay money. It's when they sign a contract or place a purchase order. Now, the money hasn't actually left the Treasury yet, but it is officially spoken for. It is legally committed. This is the point of no return. And that leads us to the final step, step five, payment. The new equipment is delivered, the work is done, the invoice gets approved, and only then does the cash actually leave the U.S. Treasury to pay the bill. The journey is finally complete. So what this really shows is the incredible control built into the whole system. Every single dollar has to go through these 5 distinct stages. It creates this very rigid, very traceable path that ensures our money is managed and controlled from the second it's approved by law to the second it's paid out. So you might be asking, why go through all this trouble, right? What is the ultimate point of this incredibly meticulous, multi-step process? Well, it all comes down to producing a final report card.
Because every single transaction we just followed, every appropriation, every obligation, every payment, it's all recorded in that two-sided accounting system we talked about earlier. And all of that data gets rolled up and compiled to create detailed financial reports for its most important audience, us, the public.
And these are the big ones. These are the main financial statements that every major federal agency is required to publish. They're the official summary of everything that happened. That statement of budgetary resources, for instance, that report shows exactly how the agency managed its money through that 5-step process we just walked through.
When you put them all together, these reports are designed to give anyone a clear, comprehensive snapshot of an agency's financial operations and its overall fiscal health. This is the ultimate fulfillment of that constitutional duty we saw right at the very beginning.
So, that leaves us with one last thought. This entire complex system, it exists to produce a detailed public report card on how our money is spent. It's available to every single citizen. So the real question is, have you ever read it?